Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a simple question. If I told you there was a pill that could lower your blood pressure, reduce your risk of heart attacks, lift your mood, and add years to your life, and it was free, would you take it? Now, what if I told you that this magic pill already exists, but it's not something you swallow, it's something you do? That miracle is walking, a simple, daily act that many take for granted, yet it holds the key to some of the most pressing health concerns we face after 60. The body is a temple, not a machine. And like a temple, it needs to be preserved through devotion, not punishment. In this age, especially after crossing 60, one might believe that vitality is a chapter closed long ago. But often, it is not age that slows us down, it is disconnection. Disconnection from movement, from breath, from the silent rhythm of the body that continues to whisper even when we are no longer listening. Imagine an elderly man, living alone in a quiet village. Every morning at dawn, before the birds announce the sun's arrival, he walks not hurriedly, not with a purpose to reach, but with the intent to return to himself. His neighbors watch him pass by, his back straight, his eyes calm, his pace steady. Year after year, they grow older and many grow frail, while he remains untouched by disease. When asked about his secret, he smiles and simply points to his feet. Walking is a conversation with the body. Every step massages the heart, stretches the muscles, activates the lungs, and stimulates the brain. It is one of the few forms of movement where the body is fully engaged yet remains calm. It's not an attack on the system, it's nourishment. The heart, in particular, responds to this act with grace. With each rhythmic step, the heart finds its rhythm too. Not the erratic pounding of stress, but the smooth, deliberate cadence of vitality. When we walk daily, especially in our later years, the body begins to re-establish its natural circulation. Imagine a river that has long been neglected. Weeds grow, debris collects, the water stagnates. But the moment that river is stirred, even slightly, the flow returns. It may be gentle, it may take time, but movement always invites cleansing. Blood begins to circulate more freely. Oxygen reaches deeper into the tissues, and the heart learns once again how to function without strain. There is a silent intelligence in walking. The soles of your feet touch the earth, sending signals back up through your nerves, up to your brain, reminding it that you are alive, balanced, in motion. The spine aligns, the shoulders loosen, even the digestive system wakes up. There is a humility in walking that makes it more powerful than aggressive exercise. One is not pushing the body to its limits, one is inviting it back to life. A very old master once said, "The strongest tree is not the one that grows fast, but the one that grows deep." And so it is with health. Walking might seem slow, even trivial, but with time it roots strength deep into the body's systems. One day of walking may not show a result, but 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, and the body transforms not just physically, but energetically. The heart, a loyal companion, begins to beat with more efficiency. It doesn't need to pump as fast or as hard because the blood vessels begin to expand. Plaque is reduced. Inflammation subsides. The blood becomes less heavy, less burdened, all from walking not with effort but with consistency, with reverence. There was a woman who once feared she would not see her grandson grow up. Her blood pressure was high, her cholesterol rising, and each hospital visit brought more medicine, more fear. Then she made a choice, not a dramatic one, not driven by desperation, but by clarity. She chose to walk. At first, just around her house, then to the garden, then slowly, down the street. Months passed. Her blood pressure lowered, her heartbeat steadied, not because she fought her illness, but because she befriended her body. Movement is medicine, but not all movement is the same. Walking gives the body time. It teaches patience, it teaches breath. As the feet move, the lungs expand. Fresh air enters. The diaphragm stretches. Tension begins to dissolve not only in the muscles, but in the thoughts. And this ease radiates to the heart, reducing its load. A calm body means a calm heart. A calm heart means a longer, stronger life. Now let us speak of blood pressure. The invisible force that rises when the mind is troubled. The breath is shallow, the vessels are tight. Blood pressure is not just a number. It is a reflection, with a reflection of inner weather. Stormy thoughts, rigid habits, anxious days, these cause the pressure to rise. The heart pushes harder. The arteries resist more, and in that war, damage begins. But walking dissolves resistance. The very act of moving in rhythm with breath lowers the storm within. There's a story of a retired teacher who once suffered from high blood pressure so severe that her doctors warned her to avoid any strenuous activity. But instead of retreating into a chair in fear, she turned to walking. Each morning she walked alone, slowly, listening to the sound of her breath. She imagined the tension melting from her shoulders. She visualized her blood vessels opening like flowers. In time her blood pressure dropped, not suddenly, but steadily. She did not run. She did not sweat. She simply walked with awareness. There is a wisdom in the body that modern life often overlooks. The body knows how to repair. It knows how to balance, but it cannot do so when we are still stiff or afraid. Walking grants the body space to listen to itself. Every joint lubricates. Every organ vibrates gently with motion. Blood pressure stabilizes not because of external control, but internal regulation. This is the kind of healing that lasts. The beauty of walking lies in its accessibility. No equipment, no gym, no competition, only presence. Even the air is part of the therapy. With each inhale, oxygen fuels the system. With each exhale, carbon dioxide and fatigue leave. The arms swing, the eyes relax, the ears hear sounds beyond machines, birds, wind, the crunch of leaves. These small senses, often ignored, are awakened. And in that awakening, stress recedes. Blood pressure, when left high, begins to harden the arteries. It damages the kidneys. It burdens the brain. But daily walking acts as a release valve, like opening a window in a crowded room. Suddenly there is space. The vessels no longer constricted by inactivity expand. The heart no longer overworked, rests more. Even sleep improves. And with sleep comes deeper healing. One does not need to walk far. The purpose is not distance. It is devotion. 10 minutes, then 15, then 30. The body responds to intention, not perfection. Walking is not a task. It is a gift we give ourselves each day. A sacred ritual that returns the body to its original harmony. So when the body feels tired, walk. When the mind feels cluttered, walk. When the heart feels heavy, walk. There is strength in movement. There is healing in consistency. The body does not ask for miracles, only for daily presence. Only for steps that say, I am still here. I am still alive. I still honor this vessel that carries me through this world. There is a quiet strength in the one who walks with awareness. In a world that often seeks intensity, fast results, and loud declarations, the person who walks slowly but steadily through the path of discipline is often misunderstood. Yet it is this very slowness that brings the greatest transformation, not only to the body but also to the clarity of the mind and the stability of the emotions. When a person reaches the age where the body no longer moves with youthful ease, balance becomes not just a physical term, but a metaphor for living. The muscles that once responded instantly now asked for patience. The joints that once carried weight without hesitation now whisper before they strain. The path forward must change, but change is not the end of strength. It is the beginning of a deeper form of it. Daily walking, done mindfully and consistently, trains balance in a way that no machine or medication can. Each step becomes a dialogue between the brain and the body. The foot touches the ground, and hundreds of nerves fire in synchrony. The ankle stabilizes, the knee adjusts, the hip absorbs, the spine aligns, the eyes focus, the brain calculates. This complexity is hidden in simplicity. But it is through this quiet repetition that the body reawakens its forgotten wisdom. There was a man who once worked in a steel factory for 40 years. When he retired, he was strong but rigid, fast but imbalanced. One winter he slipped on ice and broke his hip. Recovery was slow, but instead of surrendering to a chair in silence, he began walking. First along the hospital corridor, then with a cane through the garden. Months later, unaided, through the park. His balance returned. His confidence returned. And he said, walking gave me back my body. With age, the loss of mobility often begins in the mind before the body. The fear of falling becomes greater than the desire to move. But the only way to silence that fear is to train it. Balance is not taught by theory. It is trained by experience. Every walk, every uneven surface, every change in rhythm strengthens the connection between mind and muscle. The inner voice that once said be careful begins to say you can. In the same way that balance returns through repetition, mental clarity emerges from rhythm. When we walk, the mind does not need to chase distractions. The body provides a tempo. The left foot, then the right, the breath in, then out. In this simple cycle, noise fades. Thoughts settle like dust after a storm. The mind becomes still, not by force, but by alignment with the body's natural movement. A woman once shared her story about forgetfulness. She was in her late 60s and began noticing that names, dates, and tasks would slip through her awareness. It frightened her, but instead of turning to panic, she turned to walking. Every morning at sunrise, she would walk without her phone, without headphones, only with the sounds of the world around her. She noticed the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, the warmth of the sun on her face, and over time, her memory sharpened, her focus returned, not because she tried harder to remember, but because she became more present. The brain, like a muscle, thrives on circulation. Oxygen is its fuel, and walking improves circulation like no other gentle activity. Each step pumps blood to the brain, refreshing its cells, clearing the fog. But more than just physiology, walking resets the mind through stillness and motion. When you walk without a destination, you learn to be where you are. That is the foundation of clarity. Even more powerful than physical or mental clarity is emotional steadiness, loneliness, anxiety, frustration. These are companions that often visit with age. Friends move away, loved ones pass. The world feels faster, more disconnected. But walking offers a return to connection, not just to the body or the breath, but to life itself. It provides a space where the soul can exhale, There is an old story of a wise man who walked the same forest path every evening. One day a boy followed him and asked, "Why do you walk here every day when you already know the way?" The man replied, "I walk not to find something new outside, but to remember something old inside." This is the gift of walking, the quiet companionship it offers when words fail, when company is absent, when the heart feels heavy. It gives time, space, and rhythm for emotions to process and settle. When walking becomes a ritual, it becomes more than exercise, it becomes meditation, it becomes communion. Especially for those living alone or feeling isolated, it provides a subtle but powerful structure to the day. Morning brings anticipation of movement. Evening offers reflection through steps. It is a silent friend who always says yes when you need it. The regular act of stepping outside, feeling the ground beneath, and seeing the world continue in its cycles reminds the walker that they too are part of something greater. In many traditions, healing does not come from a treatment, but from a return to alignment. Alignment with breath, with thought, with nature, with one's deeper self. Walking is one of the simplest, most ancient forms of alignment. When two people walk side by side, their steps slowly begin to match, their breath begins to synchronize. Even their silences become shared. This is how loneliness dissolves, not through conversation alone, but through shared presence. Elders who walk together in the morning are often more connected than those who speak on the phone all day, because walking invites openness, observation, companionship. A shared path builds trust. A shared rhythm builds understanding. The need for deep connection never disappears with age. It merely changes form. Walking gives that form room to breathe. One of the greatest challenges in the later stages of life is not the illness itself, but the sense of losing purpose. But walking, especially done with intention, restores a sense of ritual, goal, and achievement. Whether it is walking to the park bench, walking one more lap than yesterday, or walking to greet a neighbor, each step becomes a victory, not over age, but with age. There was an old man who, even in his late 70s, would leave his home just before sunset and walk to the temple in his village, not for prayer, not for ritual, simply to be in the presence of the setting sun. He said that walking at that hour reminded him that every day is complete, no matter what it held, that each return home from that walk felt like a full circle. This quiet act gave him peace, clarity, and companionship. Walking teaches that movement is still possible, that change is still welcome, that clarity still lives within, waiting to be uncovered. And perhaps most importantly, it teaches that even the most ordinary action can become a sacred one when done with awareness. No one becomes strong in one day. No one becomes wise without listening. No one heals without returning to simplicity. And walking soft, steady, and sacred holds within it the power to restore all three. So the next time you look at your shoes by the door, remember this: those shoes aren't just for walking. They're for healing, thriving, and living fully. Make walking your daily medicine. Let your feet carry you not just through the neighborhood, but toward better health, peace of mind, and a stronger heart. Your future self will thank you with every step you take. Thank you.